What happened today in Washington, D.C. is not America.
The rampage at the Capitol yesterday was a disgraceful act, and it must be vigorously condemned.
This is a very distressing time in the United States, and I feel terribly for what's happening there. I really do.
That's how some U.S. allies are responding to the riot at the U.S. Capitol that drew attention around the world yesterday. Other global leaders are criticizing President Trump and his supporters more directly. As Holly Williams reports from London, Holly, what are they saying?
Good morning. Well, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson described the scenes in Washington as disgraceful. The German Chancellor Angela Merkel said she was sad and angry and said she regretted that President Trump hadn't accepted defeat. And the Swedish Prime Minister said that President Trump bears significant responsibility for an assault on democracy. To be clear, those are American allies calling out the leader of the free world, more or less directly, for this attack on US democracy. And that, I think, is unheard of. But it's not just America's friends that are watching this unfold, it's America's rivals and enemies. Iran's president said this shows what a failure Western democracy is. A Russian spokesperson said the cause of the, quote, split in American society is an electoral system that doesn't meet modern democratic standards. And we'll see more of that in the days to come from dictators, authoritarian regimes and authoritarian-minded leaders who will almost certainly use what has happened. They will use it to accuse the US of hypocrisy for criticising other governments when its own system is in turmoil. And they'll say to their own people, look, American democracy is not a model for the rest of the world. It's chaotic, and this just shows that you need an authoritarian like me. The fact is, the United States is a cradle of democracy, and when American democracy is rocked, it sends shockwaves around the world.
Yeah, Holly, as former acting CIA Director Mike Morrell said yesterday, it gives ammunition to our enemies. Some people have compared this to civil wars and coups even in other countries. You've covered both of those. Does this look in any way similar to you?
No, it does not. I mean, it looks dangerous and destabilising and unsettling, and I'm not trying to downplay any of that at all. But the military has not seized control of the government, which is so often what you see in a coup. Armed gunmen have not seized control of the media. That's another thing that you often see. And while there's been deadly violence, it's nothing like on the scale that we see in countries that have spiralled into civil war. Anthony.
Holly Williams in London. Thank you, Holly.